Going live. Going live. Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Can I hear myself? We'll find out right now. Can you hear me, Space Wolf? I see you. Can you hear me out there? Welcome back, everybody. Going live. Yes, I hear myself. Look at that. Hey, boom. By myself, talking The Last of Us. There was 4 people, and then 2 people dipped. I'm sure as soon as they saw me, I apologize. Yeah, we got Wiley in the chat. I know it's a little bit earlier than when Cody and I normally do these things, but hey, just watched the episode. It's fresh in my mind. It's Sunday. I've got my coffee, and I have you all. And we're going to be talking about The Last of Us, Episode 3, titled Long, Long Time. To double check that because I thought I saw another title somewhere else. And if that's correct, then great. If that's different, then I'm going to change it. Okay, IndieWire lists it as Long, Long Time. We can trust them, right? FS1138, what's up? Yeah, if you are here in the chat with me, please, I'm talking to you. So any and all questions that you want to ask me or specific moments from this episode you want to highlight in the chat, I'll shout it out. No Streamlabs or Super Chats required. Although if you do want to send in something that would be nice and lovely, would appreciate that. It definitely helps us here on the channel. But honestly, the biggest helper in all of that, if you're going to do anything to support this channel and support everything that we do here, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. If you've never seen the stuff that we do here, check it out. We got a lot of cool stuff. We do a podcast. We do short films and sketches, all that jazz. So if you want to get more of that, subscribe to the channel and enjoy. But for right now, we're talking The Last of Us. This is episode 3. It's going to be spoiler-filled, talking all things spoilers. That's what that means. Yeah, this one's a doozy. Highly anticipated. I guess there was a lot of hype around this episode from critics. Cody was saying that the critics really enjoyed this episode, and from the trailers and teasers that were teasing. God, that's a stupid soundbite, but it is one. Last week when they were promoting this episode, it showcased Nick Offerman. And so we were going to get a heavy Bill episode, or at least we were just going to get introduced to Bill, which I will say, as a fan of the video game, Bill is my favorite character in that entire game. Or at least, Ellie and Joel are great, but out of my favorite sequences in the entire game, I would say the Bill stuff I really enjoyed. Bill as a character, obviously, I really liked him in the game, especially like him and Ellie, like they're back and forth with each other. But specifically just the scenario that you are thrown into in that game. I really love when you get thrown into this small little neighborhood and you're going from house to house. Just a really great sequence. But we don't really get any of that in this episode. And I'm excited to talk about that because this episode, and once again, sorry, we are spoiling this episode. And I will try my best not to spoil too much from the game. If you haven't played the game, because I do think it would be interesting if you're watching the show for the very first time and you don't know what's going to happen. So I'll at least not spoil anything that happens, past the point of Bill. I might say some stuff that happens, like I'd already mentioned, just for comparing and contrasting sake. I'll be mentioning some specifics that happen in the game in regards to Bill and Frank, just to kind of do a little side-by-side. I also got a filibuster, and, talking by yourself is not easy. It is not easy. So anybody in the chat out there, I'll be talking to you. You talk to me. And if you're not watching live, please leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this episode. And be sure, once again, to hit that like button. This episode, long time. It is a Bill-heavy episode. Bill and Frank heavy episode, but we come back, we start with Joel and Ellie, and this is kind of the aftermath of what had happened to Tess from the previous episode, and Joel's not too happy about it. But there's a really great conversation that that Joel and Ellie have at the very beginning that I really, really liked. And in scenarios like this, like in movies or television, when a character is dealing with like the loss of somebody that was close to them, there's one character that feels sorry for the other one, or the other one's going to resent the other one. But I love the fact that Ellie just straight up said, "Hey, you made this choice. Nobody is forcing you to do this. So this is not my fault. I'm sorry about Tess, but hey, it's not my fault." And right away, I'm glad that we kind of just like got that out of the way, and Joel wasn't gonna like. There's obviously like a soft spot that Joel has when it comes to talking about stuff in the past. Specifically, something that happens at the end of the episode is literally ripped from the video game, the conversation about their histories, and just like leaving it there and not talking about it. That shows up a little bit later. That's crucial, but I'm glad that Ellie kind of had stepped up and said that, because it is true. At the end of the day, he made both of them made this decision, and so now we get to see everything that's going to be unfolding from all of that. And so we get a little bit more exposition, a little bit more background as Ellie and Joel are walking, and he fills her in on some of the stuff that had happened on Outbreak Day about flying planes and the fucking Fedra killing a bunch of innocent people that weren't even affected, just killing them just because there wasn't enough room in the quarantine zone. I know we see a little bit. We see like that match cut of the baby. It's fucking terrible. And the mother that were bones, and then we see them alive and we get them taken away. But I do love we get this little bit of like, sometimes just hearing about stuff instead of seeing it is really, really cool. So I really liked some of the stuff that Joel was sort of setting up, and just they do such a good job in the show of showing and telling what had happened either prior to Outbreak Day or in or around the events of that. And I think that's just really cool world building. And they do it in such a way where it's not constant, but it's enough to just keep building out this world. And that's something that I think is just really cool, because in The Last of Us video game, you only get little snippets just from reading material. And even that, those are more personal stories of people that had lived in specific houses, or if they bunkered up in like a tunnel somewhere, and it's pretty much like their last surviving wills for other people to eventually find, even though a lot of these letters are meant for like loved ones and whatnot. But it's that sort of world building that we get in this show that ties in the game that I very much enjoy. And before we get to Bill and Frank, because goddamn, they should have just called this episode Waterworks. We see that Joel and Ellie go to a store, a gas station, and Joel is looking for some of his supplies, and we get this eerie scene with Ellie where she kills her first infected that is like stuck under some rubble. And this ties back into the first episode when she kind of watches Joel beat the man to death that had threatened her life, and this sort of like sadistic look that she had on her face when that happened kind of resembled of what was kind of going on here when she stabbed it in the head. And that's that sort of idea that she kind of likes that. She's always wanting a gun. She's wanting to know about all these like horrible things, and so there's something like there's a darkness within her that if we eventually see in Last of Us Part 2 that is like fully released. So here is a nice little like a bunch of like seeds that are being planted, just sort of building up to what Ellie is eventually going to become. And so that way, and it's great too, because like they're not gonna like right away the scene where I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but specific things that happen with Ellie in the first game, there's a build up to that too, where it just doesn't happen right away. And I think they're doing a really good job of doing that in this one as well. And I also love that he stashed the machine gun, because he was like, there's no ammo out here, so it's pointless. So that's for all the people that are like, hey, you're getting the machine gun that first level. That's not fair. I know those people are joking, and I think it's hilarious too. But that eliminates that whole like, hey, he's got a machine gun, like, limited ammo, powerful weapon, blah blah blah. Even in this episode, when they get Bill's stash of weapons, and so they have an arsenal now. But if you've seen the teaser for next episode, and if you know what happens next, I think they're gonna find a way to be like, yeah, he has all that, but he's not gonna have all of them. So even if he did have the arsenal, yeah, I don't think he would have been like stacking up so much, to be all powerful or anything like that. But coffee break. Yum. Love my coffee. Got a sugar-free creamer too. It sucks, but whatever. Hey, that's life. Speaking of life. Whew. All right. Then we get this like very long flashback. I've seen I'm not saying I haven't seen this before, but people are obviously already comparing this to the first 5 minutes of Up, just extended into an entire episode, because that's essentially what happens. We meet Bill. He's a doomsday prepper, and the second that Fedra take everybody away to the QZ or to the QZ, he starts setting up shop. He sets up this whole town, his town that he lived in. He built a freaking basement underneath his basement. He basically sets this all up. He has this all planned out. He was ready to go. And this is a cool little, it's not a change, but it's just, again, what they can do so well in a television series as opposed to just a video game is that they can flesh out the characters more than they ever have. When you, like, there are specific characters that get fleshed out, like what I was kind of mentioning earlier about, notes or specific things like in the settings that you can kind of just like learn about them. And here we can actually see their story unfold in its entirety. And, when you meet Bill in the game, he's obviously incredibly paranoid and he's smart. He's planned everything out. He has his traps, and here we get to see the origins of that. And I think that's super cool. And Nick Offerman is just so good in this episode. I gotta find the name of the actor who plays Frank. I just saw it too, but if anybody in the chat wants to help me out too, I'll try to look that up right now. But both of them were just absolute. They were the stars of this episode, and it was just, they're both just fucking fantastic. Like Emmy nominated, the whole spiel, the whole shebang. Murray Bartlett as Frank, just wonderful, absolutely wonderful, both of them. So yeah, I love seeing Bill set his stuff up, going to Home Depot, breaking in. I think, did he use his boat to store supplies, which I think is hilarious too, building his fort around the entire, like, just a big old perimeter, and then he's just living his best life. I think it said like 4 years later, until he meets Frank. So he lived 4 years by himself in his own little sanctuary and is in the same neighborhood before Outbreak Day. And then we finally meet Frank. He falls into a hole, and he at first Bill is pretty hesitant, but he eventually lets him in, cooks him dinner. They kiss. Now listen, in the video game, it's hinted at. I don't think they specifically. I mean, I think this. I can't quite exactly remember. It's alluded to, and even Bill calls Frank his partner, and that could obviously mean multiple meanings and whatnot. But the way I always took it was that they were lovers, partners, like loving partners, and for those who haven't played the game, we don't meet Frank. Frank has not a completely different outcome, but we never get to actually meet him. We only hear about him and then eventually read about him. So being able to see Frank fully fleshed out again, it's just like the amazing thing they can do with this sort of medium. And it's just like telling that story of the two. FS113, it's never flat out said, but pretty heavily implied that they were a couple. Yeah. So I can't, again, like, not to be like, oh, there's going to be negative people, but there are going to be negative people, I imagine, because people are going to be watching this and be like, really, this is The Last of Us? This is our, like, this is part of that. Like, this, it's just fleshed out more. And so I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be discourse no matter what. But always just like in the back of your mind, just thinking like, some people aren't going to like it, and you know what? Don't like it. Don't watch the show. Like just don't watch it. But this was like one of the most like riveting piece of television I think I've like ever seen. Like it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And seeing Frank fleshed out with Bill and their relationship unfold, the first 5 minutes of Up, just in an entire TV series. This is a movie. This is like a mini movie. I could see a whole spinoff of Bill and Frank, and I'd be down for that. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Give me more Bill and Frank. And the only thing that I think of I mean, the thing is, like, both Bill and Frank, it's like they sense it. They both know. But then they just like kiss like right away, and it is like it as much as it is like maybe a love at first sight sort of thing. Back in my mind, I was like, "Yo, Bill, what happened to the paranoid dude, man? You just met this guy. You don't know him." Because at first I was like, "Hey, what if that's not Frank?" I mean, I think he did. He said his name was Frank, but like, he could have just been like, "Bah, gotcha. Now I got your home. I got everything." But hey, it didn't work out that way. It worked out a lot better for the both of them. They play the piano for each other, and it's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. Especially with Bill, because he was just so alone, and now he has a companion, and Frank being that companion, I love. I mean, get two hairy-chested men. Shout out to hairy-chested men. Justice for hairy. Can I get some hairy-chested men in the chat? No representation. Thank you. I appreciated that. Very much appreciated that. But I do love they get into bed and they're having their moment, and then the second they're about to get intimate, cuts to another, I think like 3 or 4 years later, and they're arguing with each other. And it's like already, it's like, okay, like you don't need to see a lot more. Like you get these tiny little moments between the two that is like just enough to flesh them out, and these tiny little things between the two. And Frank wanting to fix up some of the shops around the town and whatnot. So that was a really funny cut, and we just get more great stuff between them. Let's see, I can't remember specifically the order, but Frank surprising Bill with the strawberries. Thank you, Korar Alex. Forested in the chest. Hell yeah, let's go. And yeah, the strawberries was a really nice scene too. I love that too. It's like tiny little details of like Nick Offerman biting into the strawberry, and you can just tell like, this is the first strawberry that he's had in like 10 years. And I know that seems so simple, but like that's just, and he starts crying too, and then you start crying, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna go to my fridge. I'm gonna start eating some strawberries right now, because you take that shit for granted. I never really cared for strawberries when I was a kid. I never really ate them that much. And then in my recent years, I love them. They're sweet. They're fresh. It's fruit. Go out there and eat some fruit. I got bananas. Maybe I'll have a banana after this. But anyways, strawberries are good. Shout out to strawberries and hairy-chested men. So we get those. It's another beautiful moment. And then I thought they were going to switch it up on us. I thought they were going to pull the rug, because they've been doing this thing where they've been mirroring stuff where, things happen in the game one way, in the show is going to happen the same, but in a slightly different way. I thought they were going to kill Bill right then and there when they're being raided by those raiders. I thought it was, oh shit, they're going to kill Bill. And you know what? I think I would have been fine with that. But then they go in a different direction. Because it ends pretty abruptly, because he gets shot. He defends the place, and then we cut to 10 years later, where I think we finally catch up to the main timeline, and then we see Frank in the wheelchair, and you're like, oh shit, he's dead. They don't specifically say what he's dealing with, but I think it's like cancer, or I'm pretty sure, because he alludes to the fact that even before like Outbreak Day, there was nothing that could save anybody from this, and so we get to finally see them on their final day together, because Frank just says like, I've had enough. This is my last day. And that, I mean, I think like I teared up at like 2 maybe like 2 times. The first time, I think, like when Frank lays out his plan for his final day and just wanting to have that final good like one day, and it just like ugh, because it's he doesn't want to fight, he doesn't want any drama, he just wants to have one good day, and I can't even like imagine for like like a partner to like agree to that, all while knowing that this will be the person's last day. Um, and yeah, then we see their final day. Frank decides that he's going to drink the wine with the crushed up pills, and then another slight little reveal. Uh, Bill had been drinking that same thing. He put it in the entire bottle, and he's going to go out with him. And the two of them die together, and it's incredibly sad. It's beautiful. It's very. Frank says it himself that he does not approve, but this is oddly like romantic. He says something to the effect of that, and they die in bed in their arms together, and it's just God, so sweet, so sweet. This is like the different like this is what's crazy is that this is a property based off of a video game, and they're doing incredible storytelling with really really great characters, and I can't see anybody being upset. I can see people being upset over that, but it's like what else are you looking for? Do you like as much as me a fan of the sequence with Bill in the game, as much as I am a fan of that whole sequence, I would rather what they did in the show 1,000 times over than just seeing them rehash everything from the game, and Ellie and Bill having their interaction with each other. Like that would have been all great, but we got such a wonderful and beautiful scene and great character work and great acting between these two guys, and it's just so worth like deviating from our main storyline. But we get to see a little flashback and more backstory a little bit to Joel and Tess and their relationship, and then it eventually comes back full circle at the end when they find the note, which, hey, little Easter egg, there's a note. There are notes in the game. Hey, I'm a game guy. I like the Last of Us game. I see a note, I'm happy. That gets me excited. So yeah, the Bill and Frank stuff is really really great. Completely different than the game, but the spirit of those characters is still there. Frank is never fully fleshed out, and he's fleshed out in here, so that's great. They had like free range to do that, but Bill always felt like Bill, and that's honestly what matters most. It's not the situations that they're put in, it's just how those characters are specifically represented that really really makes everything about them so powerful. And so when Joel and Ellie finally get to the house, they find the letter. They stack up on all their gear. They take hot showers, and there's another heartbreaking moment where Ellie. I think this is the second time where I cried. Where Ellie's reading the letter from Bill, and the letter is supposed to be to Joel, and she's reading out loud, and she says, take all the weapons because so you can take care of Tess. And then Joel breaks down, and then I break down, and I'm like, where's my strawberries? I want some strawberries. We just went to the store. We didn't get any strawberries. We did get bananas. That's again, I'm bringing up the bananas again. We should have got, maybe we do have some straws of the berries. I have no idea. Roque Oriana, excuse me. Love the Arrival soundtrack in the show. The Arrival soundtrack, like the movie Arrival, from when the one where they play at the end when they're in the car. Is that where that's from? Comment below, let me know. Yeah, finally, and they finally get the truck. The second I saw the battery wasn't in there, I was like, oh fuck, are they gonna spend a whole episode looking for battery? Nope, in the fridge, and then they drive off, and they share the moment that's in the game where Ellie finds the cassette, they play it, and Joel has a moment of happiness because he's hearing music, probably, I mean, not for the first time because he has the radio stuff, but it's a specific song that he probably hasn't heard in a very long time. And then the two drive off with each other, not into the sunset, because I'm sure they're going to have a whole lot more terrible stuff happen to them, because that's what this world brings forth. And yeah, man. Whew. This was an episode. Yeah. I'm a big fan. The show continues just to be incredible. Changing it up, but for the better. And it's not like it's not like we're getting clickers every single episode. It's not action packed every single episode. It's still carrying the weight in which the show, I guess just represents the video game, brings that to life, and does it in a way that isn't just saying like, oh hey, here's a clicker. Oh hey, here's a boomer bloater. God damn, I keep saying boomer. But yeah, this is good stuff. Alex G, strawberry shake sounds good right now. It does. I normally go chocolate, but might be doing strawberry this next time. FS1138, thank you so much for the super chat. For Bill and Frank, yeah, I'd pour out this copy for the homies. Just amazing. Wiley Todd, good episode, but in the game, this is where Joel and Ellie grow closer. So I felt that was missing. I still think there's room for them to grow closer. I mean, there's still 6 episodes left. I mean, where we are in the show, this jumps kind of a lot. We skip over a bunch of stuff from the game. I mean, the game is incredibly long. So I think there's plenty of time for them to start growing closer. I mean, you feel a little bit of like the tension sort of, releasing. They still have their like back and forth with each other. But I think the two of them, like even playing the music at the end, shows a little bit about their, relationship growing a little bit closer. She finds it, she puts it in. At first he doesn't want to listen to it, and then he's like, oh hey, this is great. And then she says, hey, this isn't so bad. And so now they're enjoying a nice car ride together. So tiny little things like that. I think, once they have like the moment where, they finally like embrace and they're like, all good with each other, then it's just, then that's going to be the Joel and Ellie that we love to see. Oh yeah, Alex, now I want to play Mortal Kombat 2 and select Melina. Yeah, that was a fun little Easter egg too. Obviously in the game it wasn't Mortal Kombat. It was I think it was some made up game. Another mention of Riley. I don't think she specifically says Riley, but we all know that if they're gonna have a whole episode for Bill and Frank, we're getting an episode full. We're just getting that whole DLC of Riley's deal. What's that one called? What's the DLC called? Among Us? That's not what it is. The Last of Us DLC. Left Behind. There it is. Just like the hit Christian film Left Behind. Oh shit, I forgot they didn't do the comic book. Oh, they didn't do the comic book. Can't do it. They can't do the payoff now. I'm sure they'll throw it in there at some point. They didn't do the hey, why are these magazines stuck together? But I guess in the context of Bill and Frank, maybe it would have been a little inappropriate because Bill does survive. Bill does survive in the game. He just gets left behind. Thank you guys. Thank you both. And Joel and Ellie just kind of move on and do their thing. So I think this is another win. This is another banger. This show keeps getting better and better, and it's keeping us on our toes, and I like that. So I cannot wait to see more. What do you all think? What were some of your favorite moments? I'm sure I'm missing something in here. Doing these solo ain't easy. It ain't easy. I ain't no Bill. Okay, I can't do this by myself. I need a Frank. Cody, where are you at? You're my Frank. FS1138. I was kind of bummed they didn't do the bye-bye scene. Bye-bye line. I mean, listen, I wish we could have seen Ellie and Bill having their kind of like back and forth with each other because it's really fun in the game. But, I can just go to the game and play that and enjoy that scene. I can just look that up on YouTube because that's always going to be there. And I think this will be another, like when Cody always talks about watching scenes on YouTube, there's a bunch of stuff from this that definitely going to be watching, like hands down. FS, thank you so much for bringing that up. RIP to Annie Wershing as well, who was the original Tess from the video game. I just found out she passed away today. She that's eerie. The timing. She passed away of cancer. So that's just that is unfortunate. I hope she got to see more of the show before her passing. Because she did really great work in the game, and I know she's been in other shows and stuff. So that's a big bummer. Roke, is it Roke? Roku? Oriana? The wheelchair scenes uses similar music from Arrival when its mother/daughter relationship. Think it's called Nature of Daylight. Oh, okay. I see it. Beautiful. Love it all the way around. Big thumbs up. Big fan. So that's about it for me, y'all. Thank you once again for watching. I don't know if I will be reviewing next week's episode because I'll be out of town. So stay tuned on that. Maybe I'll recap it on Wangers. Oh, well, pre-recording next week. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If we miss one, I think it's okay. We miss a couple here and there. We'll eventually talk about it probably on Wangers or something like that. And so, yeah. And, speaking of which, we're back live tomorrow, 7 p.m. PT. Ken is on the show. I think it'll be just me and Ken tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good one. Thank you all for joining me here on this live quick little chat on episode 3 of The Last of Us. Once again, please leave a comment because that's what you're supposed to do on YouTube in order to get the views, and hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much. And stay safe out there. Have a good week. Bye.